Hi guys, it's Rachel, and we need to talk. It's been a long time since I made my first video on not trusting agencies, and so I think we need a refresher on this topic. Lately, I've received so many private messages and emails from people that got their study permit application refused. And the common reason among all of these refusals is the use of agents or agencies. Many of these victims are too embarrassed or scared to share their story, so I'm going to do it for them. I'm gonna go further than this and also provide you with a solution. But before we start, please do me a favor by subscribing to my channel and also liking or sharing this video. Yes, it helps the YouTube algorithm push out my video, but the main point here is to get my message to more people to prevent agents from taking advantage of potential victims. Anyway, let's just jump right into it. So the story usually starts out like this. Someone reaches out to me via email, private message, or even IG to tell me that they got their study permit application refused. First, I asked the student if they did their study permit application. And well, a large number of these students, I estimate over 90%, said that they used an agent or an agency to help them with their application. I asked for details of the agent or the agency, and I checked whether these agencies are legit or not. Among all of the agencies listed by the student, I have found none to be legit. The worst part is, these students have already committed and paid a large amount to these agencies. The average price is approximately 1,500 Canadian dollars, and I've seen as high as 4,000 Canadian dollars for an application. So the student just lost a large amount of money, and also their hopes and dreams of Canada are denied. By the way, I just want to quickly define or distinguish what agencies are. Not all agencies are illegal, but it becomes illegal when an agency, whether an educational or an immigration agency, start to give you immigration services or legal advice for a fee. To better understand this, let's first look at the immigration law in Canada. This is Section 91 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, also known as IRPA. IRPA, by the way, is a law that regulates all immigration matters inside and outside Canada. Now, Section 91 basically states that nobody can represent you or advise you with respect to your immigration matters and charge you a fee. Let's back it up a bit. Section 91 talks about advice or legal advice. But what is legal advice anyway? Legal advice means understanding your personal situation, analyzing it with the law, and giving you legal options or opinions. For example, if you go to an agency and disclose your personal information such as your age, family size, employment status, education background, or even your intention to come to Canada as PR, the agent or agency will take this information and suggest you which option or pathway is suited for you, like the study to PR pathway. If they charge you a fee for this advice, then this is where it becomes illegal. The reason, which I will expound on later, is because they are not trained, qualified, educated, experienced, nor recognized to give legal advice. Now, the second point here is that they cannot represent you, meaning they cannot provide immigration services and charge you a fee. By this I mean, they cannot ask you for payment to do such things like applying for your study permit, writing your SOP or your explanation letter, gathering your personal documents, and the like. At this point, that's where it becomes illegal. Why? Because IRCC or Immigrations Canada does not permit certain people like agents or agencies to charge a fee for immigration services. In fact, according to IRCC, there are mainly two types of people that can represent you on your immigration application. First is a paid representative, aka a Canadian immigration lawyer, I don't know how to pronounce that, and a registered immigration consultant. These are the only people who are permitted to charge you a fee for immigration services. Whereas an unpaid representative, it could be a relative or a friend, can help you with your application for free. Make sure it's free. Agencies clearly do not fall under this category because they have certain expenses like rent, wages for employees, ghostwriters for your SOP, and other expenses to keep their business running. And the main reason why they are in this business is because of the huge profits. I mean, they're raking it in. They typically charge 1,500 Canadian dollars to as high as 4,000 Canadian dollars, which, by the way, is more than what an immigration lawyer in Canada charges for an application. Just let that sink in. Now, the main reason why someone would ever pay that money is because they weren't informed that agencies are illegal, or they're afraid of DIYing their application because they don't know the process. Or worse, they were promised services until they get PR. This is complete and utter bullshit because IRCC controls the immigration process, not agencies. So agencies can never guarantee or promise or say anything suggesting that you can get PR. And I'm sorry for my language, but it just, it frustrates me talking to many victims that were promised to get PR when immigration is never guaranteed. I've been in so many video calls of people crying and even breaking down in front of me, knowing that they will never get to come to Canada because their immigration history has been tainted by an agency or an agent. From my experience, the refused applicant was venting how the agent laughed at them and blamed them after getting their application refused. Another experience is a group messaging me and telling me that more than 75% of their group got their study permit application refused for using the same agent. This percentage is higher than the country average for study permit refusal rates. To the agency, it was just one of many refused applications. They blame shift on the applicant for having a weak application, even though the applicant was suggested that they would get PR. Do you get it? What? Their journey ended before it even began. Now, let's differentiate agents from registered immigration consultants and immigration lawyers. I've actually taken the time to make this table, as projected on your screen, to help you understand the differences. For example, let's take a look at the minimum education requirements of each individual. To be an immigration lawyer, one must obtain a bachelor's degree from a university and then enroll another 3 years in law school. That's a minimum of 7 years university education, whereas consultants are required to complete a 2-year graduate diploma in immigration and citizenship law after having completed a bachelor's degree as well. That's a minimum of 6 years university education. And lastly, you've guessed it, there is no minimum education requirement to be an agent. That means your agent could have at best a diploma in whatever. And when there's no minimum education requirement, it suggests that these guys don't know much about immigration law, policy, or regulation. In short, to be an agent, one must be at least convincing enough for you to pay them. Anyway, I won't be going through each point as seen in this table, as it will take some time and I don't want to bore you. Instead, you can pause this video, read it over, and use this table as a checklist to see if you are using an agency or not. In summary, to make it easier to understand, we can use the following similes. An immigration lawyer is like a licensed medical doctor. A registered immigration consultant is like a nurse. And an agent is like a witch doctor. So, if you have a medical problem, would you use someone that is not recognized, untrained, uneducated, unlicensed, unregulated, and is not permitted to charge you a fee? Now that you have your answer, why would you risk your future or your life on an agent? Now, why are agencies getting away with it? As mentioned earlier, Section 91 is only applied and is only enforceable in Canada. And I actually covered a video about this where an agent was operating within Canada, got caught, and got deported. Okay, Rachel, but what about agents outside of Canada, like the Philippines, Vietnam, or India? What happens to them? The best that IRCC can do is to return or refuse your application if they know that it was done by an agency. But how will they know? Well, the first line of defense is always the visa officer. They are trained, experienced, and paid to seek out applications done by an agent or an agency. There are telltale signs that an application was in fact done by an agent. For instance, office address is one of them, as agents tend to use their own address so that IRCC can communicate with them. Once an address pops up on IRCC's immigration database for like hundreds of times, your application will be flagged for further investigation. But agencies are getting smarter by using your address, so there's no consistency in address information. Another indicator are SOPs, or your letter of explanation. Actually, a lot of you requested that I proofread, edit, and even write your statement of purpose letter, to which I have refused to do so, as doing this can lead to providing legal advice. And I cannot do this simply because I am not authorized to do so. You know, agencies tend to do templated or copycat SOPs. They have paid ghostwriters that don't know anything about immigration law or policy on refusals. They just write this generic essay to tell the visa officer how great Canada is and how studying is a great opportunity for you. But once the visa officer reads the same anecdotal high school essay hundreds of times, they will just set your application aside for potential refusal, or if lucky, return. Now, the current system that screens out agencies heavily relies on visa officers and a bit of database recognition. This current setup still lets agencies slip through because of human and database error. However, IRCC is aware of this and will be implementing a new system that operates on AI technology or artificial intelligence. So how does AI come into play? Typically, agents prepare study permit applications in bulk and follow a certain formula. For instance, they can give everyone the same checklist of documents to gather, or they refer students to the same resources to gather their documents. But the biggest giveaway are the SOPs, or the letter of explanation, since agents use standardized SOPs for a large number of applications. Here is where AI technology comes in. AI can analyze your SOP, pick out the format, the words used, and even your grammar, and compare it with other similar SOPs. When the AI recognizes a consistency among 5, 10, or even hundreds of SOPs, it will bring it to the officer's attention. The officer will review this information and potentially do what is called a bulk refusal or return. Another example where AI comes into play is distinguishing a real SOP from a fake SOP. For example, AI can compare your IELTS score with what you've written on your statement of purpose letter. If the AI notices an inconsistency, such as having a low writing IELTS score but having a well-written SOP, your application could be flagged. But anyway, this is just my opinion, prediction, and analysis. Who knows? IRCC could be test piloting the AI technology right now. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I've received so many SOPs written by the same ghostwriter from the same agency, and all of the people that messaged me got their study permit application refused. So what's the solution for agencies? It's simple. You either DIY or seek legal help. DIY means you gather your documents, complete the forms, write your own SOP, and submit the application on your own. Now, if you're not confident enough to do this, there's paid legal help, aka immigration lawyers or registered immigration consultants. When I started my journey to Canada, I honestly thought that agencies were legit because nobody ever told me that they were illegal. Plus, on the surface, they look legit. You know, they have an office, a business registration, a decent website with amazing Google reviews, and well, in summary, they looked pro. However, after coming to Canada and reading more about immigration and actually talking to immigration lawyers, I realized that this is a massive problem worldwide. I know that I can't win this fight against agencies, as I am a very small player in the game. But the least that I can do with my platform is to educate and inform. And that is why I'm sharing this video, because I want to empower you. So here are 3 takeaways that I want to impart to you. 1. Avoid agencies at all costs. They can be very enticing before you pay them. They will make you believe that PR is easy and requires little to no effort. Whether that means low IELTS scores, no security deposit needed, no job offer needed, or low skilled work experience is acceptable, most of these promises or shortcuts are complete bullshit because immigration is not easy. Plus, PR is never guaranteed, as an application will be approved or rejected by a visa officer, and your agent has no influence over that. They're very kind before you pay them, but can be very disrespectful and rude after you get a refusal. So save your money and your headache by avoiding them. Second, if you have to pay somebody to do your application, go to someone that's legit. The problem here is that you think that immigration lawyers cost more than agents. This is false because agents cost a lot more than you think. Agents can't do much for you other than suggesting you to reapply and hope for the best. Lawyers, on the other hand, can spot a potential refusal and address that concern before submission, which will in effect increase your chances of getting approved. Or the lawyer may give you the ugly truth and say that you're not eligible for the program. That way you save your money and your headache. They do this not to discourage you, but because it is an ethical obligation required by the law. It's called Code of Ethics that all lawyers in Canada have to abide by. Unfortunately, this Code of Ethics does not exist with agents. Third and lastly, I want to empower you to DIY. Honestly, it's not that bad. Plus, you will be doing the legwork anyway, so why not just go a little bit further and complete the process yourself? There are free learning resources out there. My channel is just one of them. So gather as much information as you can. That way you can make informed decisions and take the next step, which is to DIY your application. Last but not least, have confidence in your abilities and yourself. These are the key ingredients for success. Now, if you think that DIY is challenging or difficult, just imagine a life in Canada on your own. You have to find a place to live, find a job, but not just any job, but a skilled job. You need to network and communicate well, manage your time and finances, all while adapting to a new setting. All of these things, your mom, your dad, your partner, nor your agent can't do jack for you. It's just you, man. Your own hands and mind. Just believe in yourself so you can face any challenges that come your way. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have for today. If you found value in this video and you want others to learn more about agencies, please do me a favor and share this video. But yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. Be safe and be kind. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.